I'll tell you a very tragic but beautiful story while I braid my hair, so stick around. This is actually why I started my YouTube channel, because I wanted a platform where I could teach you guys my crafts and my passion while I also tell you guys about the beautiful stories I read about. Please leave comments and tell me your thoughts on this story. In a small town somewhere in Asaba, there lived a girl named Adanna. She had two younger siblings, a brother and a sister, and she lived with her parents. Her dad was a trader. He traded in foodstuff, basically for baking bread, cake, and everything that involves baking. Her dad was a really cheerful man, a really loving man, and he wanted the best for his children. He wanted all of them to have a good education and a good future. And so Adanna's father worked very hard to provide for his children and his family. At the time, the biggest bread making company in Asaba bought flour, sugar, and butter from Adanna's father, which made him very happy because his success depended mainly on their huge bulk order. One day, the owner of the bakery sent his son down along with his manager to purchase products from Adanna's father. On getting there, the bakery owner's son, Adanna, picked interest in little Adanna, while Adanna's father was really happy that he got to sell in wholesale and looked forward to their next order, which was supposed to be in bulk. While he was really happy, he left Adanna in his shop and went to go and purchase raw materials in larger quantity, while Adanna snuck out and got to spend time with Adanna. They got to know each other, they got smitten by each other, and were planning a future with each other. When Adanna's father came back to the shop, he came back with so much goods worth 400,000 naira. He took a loan to get these products, but unfortunately, he waited and waited, and the bakery never got back to him to buy these products. And one day, the bakery sent Akana to Adanna's father to tell him they were no longer going to do business with him because their manager was stealing from them. Adanna's father pleaded with them so much, but they wouldn't give him a listening ear, and he started trying to figure out a way to sell those products and repay back the loan he had taken to get these products. While this is going on, Adanna's mother has to take Adanna's little sister back to their village in hopes that a native doctor could cure her of the illness. They had gone round hospitals and couldn't seem to figure out what was wrong with Adanna's little sister. That night, Adanna's father stepped out to figure out a way to pay his debtors but never came back. When Adanna and her family heard of the news of their dad and husband being dead, they were devastated. Adanna's mother had to figure out a way to pay back the debtors her husband had collected a huge sum of money from, and in a fit of desperation went back to the bakery to plead with them to buy the products. On getting to the bakery, to her surprise, the owner of the bakery did agree to buy the products, but on getting to the shop to sell the products, they discovered that Adanna's father's workers had robbed them clean and they were back to square one. Adanna's mother was devastated, Adanna was devastated, and there was still the issue of her sister who was very sick and dying. When Adanna's uncles and aunties came and they buried their father, her auntie stayed behind and advised the mother to figure out a way to pay the debt. Adanna's auntie also offered to rally around and help them raise the money. However, the owner of the bakery shows up to their house and asks for Adanna's hand in marriage. Adanna's mother weeps and pleads that she will marry him as he is old enough to be her father. However, he will not have it and will only have Adanna's hand in marriage. And with this, he was going to pay off their debts, take Adanna's little sister to the best hospitals and pay all the hospital bills. When Adanna's auntie hears this, she insists that sacrificing one child for the other isn't the right thing to do and they will figure it out. But Adanna's mother gets angry and throws the auntie out of the house. Eventually, Adanna agrees to marry the man. The wedding preparations are set and put in place, and Adanna gets married to a man old enough to be her father and also the father to the one man she has been smitten by her entire life. On getting to the house, Adanna's husband is equally really nice to Adanna and she assumes that all will be well. Little does she know that her life will never remain the same again. Adanna is introduced to the house cook and becomes friendly with her. And also when Adanna's aunties and uncles and mother comes to visit Adanna in her new home, her mother tells this cook to please help her look after her child. Adanna gets to the house and none of Chief's children live in the house because they are all schooling and not currently at home. And Adanna takes a liking to the maid and they get really friendly. They share stories of their life together and the maid weeps on Adanna's behalf and also tells Adanna how her husband had a spinal injury and she has a daughter, and so far the person who has been taking care of them and their finances has been Chief. During the space of 2 weeks, Chief has not touched Adanna. They have not performed any marital affairs and Chief has to travel out of Asaba. A day after Chief travels outside of Asaba, his first son comes back into Asaba to take over and manage Chief's business while he is away. Within this period, Adanna's little sister has already been taken to Lagos to see doctors to help her. Akanna comes back home and rapes Adanna when he finds out Adanna is a virgin. Nobody in the house helps Adanna even when they hear her scream and struggle, and when Chief comes back she is worried that he would discover she is no more a virgin and goes ahead to prepare herself for Chief, as he has hinted to Adanna that that was the night for them to perform their marital affairs. However, Chief was no more the sweet man Adanna had grown to begin to take a liking to, and he was very rough and brutal, after which he accused her of not being a virgin after telling Chief she was a virgin. Adanna breaks down and is crying bitterly and explaining to Chief all that happened, but Chief becomes even more violent than Akanna was and beats Adanna to a pulp. Adanna sits in her room crying and weeping, and every night Akanna comes into the room, beats Adanna up and has his way with Adanna. Ogechi, the chief maid, and every other maid in the house assume that Adanna is throwing herself at Akanna because Ogechi had warned Adanna after the first time to keep locking her door. Little did Ogechi know that Akanna had already taken Adanna's keys and gone away with it. After staying cooked up in her room for weeks and Akanna repeatedly having his way with her, Akanna leaves Asaba for a business trip, and Adanna decides that she will win her husband's love back and will not live a life of misery. However, her husband will not have it. He does not want to see Adanna. He does not want to lay an eye on Adanna. After moping around, Adanna settles into her new reality and has accepted what is happening around. Ogechi advises Adanna to just become Akanna's mistress. That way she does not lose at all. Ogechi tells Adanna how much everybody is afraid of Akanna, Chief included, Akanna's own father, and after so many attempts of Adanna trying to lure her husband back in, she accepts that that is her new life and begins to settle into it. On some days when Akanna is around, he would beat her and have his way with her, and on other days, Chief would beat her and have his way with her and accuse her of being a slut. Adanna's sister is, however, treated and starts getting better and even goes back to school. Adanna goes to visit her family frequently and gives them money, and the money Chief gives them, but they don't really have a close knit relationship anymore because of the sacrifices Adanna has made for them. And they not knowing about these sacrifices, her younger sister keeps asking her what it feels like to be married to a very rich man. Little do they know what Adanna is going through. During the festive season, Adanna's first and true love comes back to live in Chief's house for this festive season and is told that Adanna has been prostituting around and sleeping with both father and son. This makes her fall out with him and Chief's only daughter. They all become enemies. After the festive season, Adanna is told that her sister has died and she has to go for her sister's burial. She goes with Chief, but before going, she packs her things and decides that there is nothing else holding her in Chief's house, so she is not going to return back with Chief. Adanna tried staying home, but Chief had already withdrawn, giving her mom money, and they were back to square one of being poor and miserable. And Adanna's mother was therefore prostituting for money, so Adanna couldn't live with her mother and she decides to go back to Chief's house. Surprisingly, Chief welcomes Adanna back home, but Adanna notices that Chief now has a new lover who feels she is now the madam of the house and bosses people around. However, over time, Adanna discovers that she comes in the daytime and a different younger lady comes at night. Ugochi gossips with Adanna and tells her that Chief is sleeping with both mother and daughter. The lady who comes in the daytime to sleep with Chief is the lady that comes at night, mother. And eventually the mother finds out and comes and is so pissed at Chief about it and throws her daughter out of Chief's house naked and is crying so much because this is the woman's only child and she has loved her so much and everything she does is for her child, and Chief has desecrated that. Chief, being the evil man that he is, throws her out of the house and carries the woman's daughter back into the house and continues having an affair with her. The woman is never the same again and she is roaming on the streets mad. During this period, Adanna starts gardening. She finds love and passion in gardening. A new gardener is brought into Chief's estate, Chief's house, and Adanna has taken a liking to this gardener, and this gardener has promised to take Adanna out of that place, and they start planning on how to leave Chief's house and leave town completely and travel out to a different town and start life afresh. He has not touched Adanna, he has not made any attempt on Adanna and is giving her the time and space that she needs to make her feel genuinely loved. And Adanna feels so loved that she agrees to these plans and is planning on her escape. Little does she know that Chief is already aware, and the night before they are to leave the town, Chief sets his house on fire and kills he and all his family members except his dad, and that is because the gardener's dad was not around at the time of this event. The man comes back home to meet a burning house, and Adanna has to sneak out of Chief's house to go and see with her two eyes to believe, and this crushes Adanna so much. After this event, Adanna goes back to her normal life and Akana is back. Akana gets married and now has a wife and has left Adanna for a long time. But on hearing that Adanna had something to do with the gardener, Akana is back and still wants Adanna. But this time around, she insists on getting paid for selling her body to him, or giving her body to him rather. So she and Akana falls back into a routine of him having his way with her and paying for it until Akana slowly stops coming again and Adanna has started having serious nightmares. Adanna sleepwalks all around the house. She wakes up in different areas of the house and she can't seem to stop it. Even when she tries to stop herself by locking her room, she may find herself in her bathroom or whatever, and everybody in Chief's house, the maids and servants included, are aware of this. Chief has tried everything possible to help Adanna, taking her to hospitals, and nobody is able to cure Adanna of her sleepwalking habits. The doctor who treats Adanna is dead and his son is back to town to take over his business, and Chief suggests that he looks at Adanna's case, but he discovers that there's nothing he can do to help Adanna, and therefore Adanna has been made to work in his office to while away time so that she's so tired that she sleeps off at night and does not sleepwalk. Adanna starts to fall in love with this doctor, and on a day she decides to tell him, he rejects her. Adanna gets mad and decides to go out and dance with a guy. Chief finds out about it, so does Akana, and they beat him to a pulp, and he is admitted in the hospital where Adanna works. The doctor's name is Neto, and Neto gets really pissed at Adanna and sends her back home because he doesn't want more cases and have heard about how any man that gets close to Adanna winds up dead or severely injured. Akana follows her home and beats Adanna to a pulp, and she is admitted back into the hospital. On being admitted, Neto and Adanna get to know each other, and he finds out everything that has happened to Adanna and develops a soft spot for her, and they fall in love and try to plan to live together. Unfortunately, their plans did not work out because Chief finds out and demoralizes the hospital. Thankfully, Neto is not around when this happens. It is the festive period again, and Chief's children are back in town, and after a heated argument between Ahana, Akana and Chief, because Ahana now finds out what really happened to Adanna and feels so sorry and bad about it and is defending her. The next morning they wake up and Chief is dead. The question now is, who killed Chief? It is discovered that the culprit is actually Ogechi, Adanna's maid, friend, and gossip partner. And when they go to look for Ogechi in her room, she's nowhere to be found, but they found her husband in his own feces and asks him questions, and he tells them that Ogechi and Chief has been having an affair and they have a daughter, and Chief has been sleeping with Ogechi's daughter, and on Ogechi discovering what Chief had been doing, got mad and decided to kill Chief. And also that Adanna's misfortunes in that house was as a result of Ogechi hating Adanna for taking her place as Chief's wife. If you're more interested in this story and you want to know how it ends, please pick up the book Adanna by Adesua Oman Onwokedi. Bye. See you guys in my next video and my next storytelling.